For the best meat you have ever eaten in your life, go to samsbutchershop.com. Enter the coupon code Triple T when you check out for a 10% discount. How many of you are familiar with Winsome Sears? Winsome Sears is the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Virginia, or Commonwealth if you prefer, and Winsome Sears has made a lot of noise in the past. She says all the right things. She's very articulate, and she's very much echoes a lot of the things that I believe, and a lot of you believe as well. She's pretty solid, and she was elected as Lieutenant Governor, and as such, recently she was presiding over the state Senate. And she got into a bit of a kerfuffle with one of the state senators. Have you heard about this? There was a state senator present by the name of Danica Roem, R-O-E-M. I guess that's how you pronounce it, Roem. And Danica Roem, 39 years old, a state senator from Virginia, is apparently a transgender. Okay, so this appeared in the Daily Mail. A transgender Virginia state senator stormed out of the chamber as she, the story reads, was referred to as Sir by a rising star lieutenant governor. You got that? They're in session now, and the state senator Roem had a question. I've seen this video. Had a question that Danica Roem asked of Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, and so the Lieutenant Governor was answering Senator Roem's question when she referred to Senator Roem as Sir. Virginia-based Democrat, surprise, surprise, Danica Roem was seen marching out of the chamber moments after being misgendered by Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears. The remark caused the legislature to go into recess twice, with footage since emerging of the exchange between the two. Senator Roem can be heard asking, "Madam President, how many votes would it take to pass this bill with the emergency clause?" The Lieutenant Governor replies, "Yes, sir, that would be 32, causing Senator Roem to storm out of the chamber. Oh, my Lord. So the Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears had the nerve, the unmitigated gall, to refer to transgender Senator Danica Roem as Sir. Now, here are the details for you. Senator Danica Roem was born a man, okay? But now Danica Roem wants to be referred to as a woman, and Danica Roem dresses, you might say, as a woman. Danica Roem has presented himself to look like a woman. I'm just going to call him he because that's what he is. Danica Roem was born a male. He is a man, but he prefers to be referred to not as a man. Well, I've got a question for you, Senator Roem. When you responded to Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, you referred to the Lieutenant Governor as Madam. Wasn't that offensive? Aren't you being a little presumptuous there? Man, I am so over this transgendered nonsense. And let me cut to the chase. Democrats and perverts in the woke crowd, they are masterful at muddying the waters and making things appear, muddy where the water really is clear, if you know what I'm saying. I was raised in a cut and dried world. Right was right, wrong was wrong, black was black, white was white. There was no ambiguity. I was raised to know the difference between right and wrong. It's not difficult. It's not hard. And I was raised to believe that men are men and women are women, and men go in the men's bathrooms and women go in the women's bathrooms. And if a man goes in a woman's bathrooms, then you're in a heap load of trouble, buddy, and vice versa. Men are men and women are women, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is by design. And Mr. Rowham, I will refer to you as sir because you were born a man. The fact that you're apparently not comfortable with that is not my problem, and it's certainly not Lieutenant Governor Sears' problem. You can dress however you wish to dress if you want to make a fool out of yourself, but at the end of the day, you are still a male. Everybody in this world is born a male or female. Period. That's all there is to it. There's no ambiguity. Now, you as a male may not be satisfied with how you're put together. You as a female may not be satisfied with how you're put together or with various body parts or whatever. Be that as it may, go and get a makeover if you wish. Go and get a new hairdo if you wish. Go to the gym and pump some iron if you wish, sir. But the bottom line is, you were born a man, you're always going to be a man. And if you're a woman, you're always going to be a woman. Just accept it and move on. If you're not happy about your lot in life, I'm sorry, but you cannot go whacking things off or adding things and magically become something you genetically, biologically are not. I can go and put on one of Marina's dresses. I can go and buy a wig. I can shave my face and start putting on Mary Kay or whatever. I can paint my eyebrows or pluck my eyebrows and paint my eyelids or put on lipstick or whatever. I'm still a man. I'm a freak, but I'm a man. Maybe I ain't much of a man, but I'm still a man. I told Marina one time, I'm interested in surgery like this. I'd like to go to the doctor and say, hey, can you make me more of a man? But I'm still a man. If you're a man, you're a man. If you're a woman, you're a woman. And that, call it old-fashioned, maybe it is, but that's okay. That's right. That is not perverse. And I'm going to tell you one thing right now. If I'm in the bathroom in a public place and a woman walks in there, something's going to happen. Because I don't want a woman in the men's bathroom, and I sure as heck ain't going to go in a woman's bathroom. This is just so simple, all right? There's no need to be confused over matters like this. And I just resent the fact that these people who have their special little agendas, they just have to have everybody else kowtow to them, and we have to accommodate their perversions. I'm tired of it, and I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. If that makes me insensitive, so be it. But you are either a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, and there's no way around that. And I'm telling you, these parents who give this transition surgery to their minor children, it would not do well for them to stand in front of Judge Tim's bench. Let me tell you that. That is demonic as far as I'm concerned. So, Senator Danica Rowham, why don't you take off the dress and act like a man for once? Stop storming out the chamber in a hissy fit because Lieutenant Governor Sears referred to you as sir. She was right to call you that because you were born a man. Can you imagine a man acting like this? Danica Rowham, be a man. Grow a pair, and be a man and act like somebody. Act like you got some manners. Storming out of the Senate chamber because somebody called you sir. Are you serious, buddy? This guy needs to be taken to a back alley by a biker gang and taught a lesson, don't you think? All right, let me move on to Victoria Nuland. I haven't talked about her enough. You probably know, if you're in the States or if you're keeping up with what's going on in the States, Victoria Nuland works in the State Department. She is not the Secretary of State. Let me see if I can find out exactly what her title is. She is the U.S. State Department Undersecretary for Political Affairs, but she has a lot of power and a lot of pull in the State Department, particularly these days with what's happening in, of course, Ukraine. Victoria Nuland was one of those people, those powerful people inside the Beltway who could have picked up a telephone and gotten Gonzalo Lira released from prison, but she did not do it. She is disgraceful, and she is a neocon extraordinaire. And she recently appeared, by the way, you remember yesterday I talked about what was happening in Ukraine. I didn't stay on this enough. I was a little flustered yesterday, but the story went that I was relaying to you, that we have financed, the CIA and the American taxpayer has financed 12 bases in Ukraine from which we can do all of our operations, which are hostile operations to Russia. Okay? That gives you another idea why we're so all in for Ukraine, because we just have to be on a war footing with Russia, although there's no reason to be. There's simply no reason to be. I wish every American who knows what's going on would call their representative and simply ask, what's the beef with Russia? Why are you so hostile toward Russia? Why? Why? What do you care? You don't have to love Russia. You don't have to love Putin, but why do you want to be hostile toward them? You got neighbors you may not know. Do you just hate them because you don't know them? I mean, you just at least can be well-mannered and courteous and a good neighbor. Why be hostile? For what is the reason? Can anybody give me a reason for us to be hostile toward Russia? There is a reason, of course. I'm being a little coy, but there's no valid reason for it. But this story kind of touches on this because Victoria Nuland, the evil Victoria Nuland, recently appeared on CNN, and she was talking about what's happening in Ukraine. I'm not going to read the whole story to you, but this is what I just want to get a quote from her from this story. She said, quote, "What we have always done, which is defend democracy and freedom around the world." That is utter nonsense. But then she kind of lets the cat out of the bag. I don't think she meant to say what she just said, but here's what it is, quote, "And by the way, we have to remember that the bulk of this money is going right back into the U.S. to make those weapons," unquote. Question for you. As you know, we are being constantly bombarded by the occupant of the White House and people like Charles Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and their ilk, that we've got to send another $65 billion to Ukraine. I mean, every time you turn around, it's billions and billions of dollars that we've got to send to Ukraine. We just send them no matter how much money, but it seems like a week later they're back at the trough again. Well, we've got to send $65 billion to Ukraine. I just get tired of hearing it, and of course there's no justification for it. And I told you in yesterday's program what that money is all about. It's just ridiculous and criminal. But here's the question for you. Where's that money going? Let's say that we authorize it tomorrow. Let's say that Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, bends his knee and he twists some arms, and Congress approves the $65 billion for Ukraine, and we write the check out and send it over to Ukraine. Where's that money going? Now, that's a rhetorical question, all right? I know the answer, but I want you to answer. Where is that money going? Or more specifically, where are they saying to us that that money is going? I don't guess they are. But what are we supposed to believe the money is being used for? Where are we supposed to believe this money is going actually? Do you ever stop and think about that? Well, of course, I told you yesterday where it's going, but Victoria Nuland answered the question for us. I don't think she was supposed to say this, but she said it right there on CNN. We have to remember that the bulk of this money is going right back to the U.S. to make those weapons. Do you remember, ladies and gentlemen, when President Eisenhower warned us about the military-industrial complex? Do you believe Eisenhower was a patriot? Would you say otherwise? I think he was a good man. I think he was prescient, a little prophetic. He wasn't perfect, but he told us when he exited office to be wary of the military-industrial complex. Now, why did he say that? And why did President Washington tell us to stay away from foreign entanglements? This all runs together. Let me tell you something. There is big money in the military-industrial complex, and there is big money in the development and manufacturing of weapons systems. Now, I don't have any problem with a strong national defense, but I do have a problem with sending our weapons and our technology over to Ukraine at great expense to the U.S. taxpayers. But the bottom line is this, folks. There are people in power who are making a hell of a lot of money off of defense contracts. Hello, neocon Nikki, Boeing board member Haley. Hello, Dick Halliburton Cheney. Don't you think there's something wrong with that? Don't you think it's wrong that people would profit over the concept of the defense of our homeland? Don't you think that's just kind of slimy, that somebody would make money on something like that? You know, it's not like you're investing in Apple or General Motors. This is just wrong to me. It is unethical. It's just immoral. And it's also what's happening, as Victoria Nuland just told us. So there you have the answer. Why do they want this $65 billion sent to Ukraine? So a lot of people make a lot of money. A lot of unsavory characters will make a lot of money. I detailed some of that on yesterday's show as well, but this goes right along with what I said. All right, let me move on to Dr. Phil. Everybody know Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil dared to go where no man should dare to go. He dared to go on the show The View, and I just am going to have to pause the video. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I lost my place, but I've got it again. Dr. Phil dared to go where no man should dare to go. How anybody can sit on their sofa and watch the TV show The View is beyond me. If I need to induce nausea, then I'll turn on The View and watch the likes of Whoopi Goldberg and Maud Behar. These women are just, I can't do it. I can't listen to them for 10 seconds. I'll just lose my mind if I try to. And of course, I didn't watch this. Disney owned, by the way. You did know that, right? But Dr. Phil appeared on The View. I don't know how it went. I've only read the transcript from the show, so I don't know how everybody behaved. But Dr. Phil was there, and he was being questioned by, I guess, one of the saner gals on the show, one of the ladies on the right. I don't know who it is. Don't know anybody else on there. But she was asking him about the border crisis in Texas. And this is what Dr. Phil said. I talked to the head of all border guards down there. He went down to Texas. The head of the union. I asked him straight up, kids are coming over the borders with numbers written on them, phone numbers and addresses. Do we check those out? He replied to Dr. Phil, well, we called them. It is possible that we're sending them to known prostitution rings or sweatshops. Is it possible, Dr. Phil asked. And the man replied, it's not possible, it's absolute. We are using American tax dollars to ship children into known prostitution and sweatshops, the head of the border guards in South Texas said. Dr. Phil continued, they call the number and say, do you know about this child? They say, yes. Will you receive them when they come? Yes. I said, is it possible that it's a prostitution ring? He said, we know enough to know that in a number of cases, it has turned out to be absolute sex ring. It has turned out to be an absolute sweatshop. I said, how is this possible? He said, they say they're so overwhelmed with processing that it's all they can do. They've become social workers and processors, and not investigators and border guards, because they're just processing. He continued, Texas law enforcement has seized over 454 million doses of fentanyl during this mission. Governor Abbott has said that the federal government has broken the pact between the United States federal government and the states. No kidding, McGraw said. And Governor Abbott says Biden has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. Dr. Phil continued in conclusion, the result is a humanitarian crisis. Unlike anything we've seen before, smashing records for illegal immigration by wasting taxpayer dollars to tear open Texas border security infrastructure. Governor Abbott says Biden has enticed tens of thousands of illegal immigrants away from 28 legal entry points along the Texas border and into the dangerous, deadly waters of the Rio Grande. That is Dr. Phil McGraw on The View. Hey, Whoopi, I wonder what you had to say about that. Hey, Maud Behar, I wonder what you had to say about that, you Biden worshipers, you Obama worshipers. How much more do I need to say about the border? It is absolutely such devastation down there. With people crossing the border that have ill will for the United States, this we know, but it is also a tragic and heartbreaking tale of innocent victims coming across the border and being sold into slavery, prostitution, and sweatshops. Many of these are children. And the occupant of the White House is the one who has the welcome mat out. Not for these victims, folks, although they are coming, but for the people who would profit, the perverse, degenerate, human scum who would do things like this to children and innocent people. Calling for reform on the border is a good thing, which is what Donald Trump does, and of course he should not be demonized for that at all. All right, one last story before I get out of here for Wednesday. Have you heard that Apple has killed the electric car? Did you know that Apple was in the production phase of the development of an electric car? It was an Apple car. They were going to make an Apple car, an electric car. This has been in development for 10 years. But all of a sudden, no pun intended, or maybe it is, they pulled the plug on the whole blooming project, and Apple is no longer going to make an electric car. The electric Apple car is dead. That's a good thing, but the question has to be asked, well, why? Why is Apple killing the development of the Apple car, the electric car? Is the answer not self-evident? Because nobody is buying these things. That's why. The consumers have spoken, and they simply don't want these things. Ford produced the Lightning pickup truck. I've told the story before of how somebody took a brand spanking new, fully charged Ford Lightning pickup truck, hitched up an Airstream travel trailer to it, and took off, and they made it 80 miles before they ran out of juice. 80 miles. Now, again, I have said there may be a market for the electric car, such as in urban centers. If you live in a downtown area and you don't drive much and you only go to places within the city, it may be functional there. It may make sense. But by and large, the American people do not want these things. General Motors has been declaring that they've sold a huge number of electric vehicles, but the devil's in the details. That is simply not true. What happens is this. They ship these EVs to GM dealers across the country, and they count that as a sale. But it's not a sale. It's trickery. These cars simply sit on the lots. The parent, General Motors, says, oh, they're sold. Look how many were sold. They didn't sell them. They simply shipped them. And then they go to the dealer's lots where they sit and rot because by and large, nobody's buying them. It is a mistake. People simply don't. And as a matter of fact, Mary, what's her name? Mary starts with a B, the head of General Motors. She just announced last week they were formerly going to go all EVs. Well, they've amended that now, and now they're saying, no, we think we might go hybrid, which Toyota has perfected. A little car talk for you. They see what's going on. The market is not responding to EVs. People simply don't want these things. And Apple knows it, and they're not idiots. They're pretty good at making money, and so they've said, okay, obviously people don't want the Apple car, so the Apple car is gone, just like that. All you got to do is listen to the market. People simply don't want these things. People want internal combustion engines, or they like the hybrid engines. The Prius, of course, sells really well for Toyota. They have perfected the hybrid engine. It's on other models as well, Corollas and what have you. Anyway, hey, do me a big favor and give me a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about what I talked about today. I really appreciate hearing from all of you very much. Give me a big thumbs up down below. Please don't forget to do that. I would appreciate that as well. And subscribe to the Triple T channel. We'd love to have you come and be a part of our growing community. Everybody go out there and have a great Wednesday. This is Trailer Trash Tim, and I will see you soon.